Today we're going to talk about evaluating information on the web. The World Wide Web was created by Tim Berners-Lee. It's been a wonderful invention. It allows anybody and everybody globally to put information and to access information. You can access that information in seconds. Okay, so is that a good thing? Yeah. Is it a bad thing? Yeah. Unless you know what you're doing. So if you're going to gather the information online, you need to be able to know that that information is valid, that it is a good source. Because I could write anything I wanted to, and I could put it out there and try to make it believable and see how many people believe me, and not know a thing about what I'm talking about, and not have any facts correct. Okay, so how do we teach our students to go in and validate the information that they do find on the web? Okay, so let's say we want to know about life on Mars. So what we say is, hey, let's Google it. So I go to Google and I type life on Mars. I'm going to go with the first result because that's probably what the kids will do, and plus it looks pretty cool. And I see that it is written by James True. Here's his, where you can contact him. It was updated October 12th, 2015 at 4:12 a.m. The information, it's got a nice picture. The paragraph is full of just informative information about what's going on with Mars and finding water on Mars. We also notice that up here it says Engadget. So we also notice the website is engadget.com. Okay, and it looks like a legitimate website. All right, so that's what we've figured out so far. All right, so how do we validate the information that we find online? Okay, from what we know, it seems legit. Is it legit? So what we can do in here is we can go to this website.informer.com and we can type in the URL. And we can get information on the URL. Who owns it, how long it's been going, when it expires. So let's look at that information. Here it looks like it was created in 2004. It expires in 2016. If you go down further, it has stats and details on this site. Page views, daily page views. It has the trustworthiness at 94. That's very high. It's got its traffic. You go down to who is, and if you scroll down through here, you can see that, where are we at? The organization that actually has registered this is AOL Inc., which is a very well-known organization. It gives the address of it, it gives their phone number, it gives an email. So it gives all that information about Engadget.com. All right. Now, we figured out who owns the site, AOL. All right, so what we can do is we can use a meta search engine. I'm going to use Sputter. Meta search engines search more than one database, searches Google, Yahoo, Bing, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. As you can see, all the icons right here. So I can search AOL Inc. and see what comes up on the owner of this website, who owns the domain. And first result, there's a lot of results. First result is AOL Corp. I can go in there and it actually talks at AOL, we're a business of making internet better. You go down to the bottom, it does say that it is copyright 2015 AOL, all rights reserved. Okay, so it talks about AOL. Here's a search button. I can go in here and I can type in Gadget. Well, there it is. Comes right up. Just to make sure that it is related to AOL. So I go ahead and I search, and right here it comes up, Engadget.com wins the EPI Award for Best Consumer Technology Blog. Okay, so it is associated with AOL. I can also go into Sputter and I can look up James True who was the author of that article on Mars. And here's James True. It says Deputy Managing Editor of Engadget. So, I mean, I can click on this and I can go in and it talks about who he is and what his career has been. There you go. There's one of the articles he's written. Here's other articles that he's written. So it gives background information on him. So that seems like legit information. All right. The next thing you can do is you can find out who is associated with this site. And you can use link. And you just go to a search engine and you just type in link, colon, and you type in the domain name. And so it shows 947 websites actually associate themselves with Engadget. They link to Engadget. So you can go to these sites and you can actually go in and you can find, let's translate it to English here, you can find the word Engadget. And here it is down here. It shows there's right where it links to Engadget. I can go to all of these sites and I can search and it's going to show me where it actually links to Engadget. So that's, that's pretty good. It's smartphones, a strategy to getting QS apps. These are all tech. Samsung, Greener Gadgets, TVs. It's all technology. All right, next thing you want to know is how often is this site updated? So you can go to, it's called Wayback Machine at archive.org, and you just type in the URL. And it shows me that it has been updated 15,770 times between March 5th, 2004 and October 13th, 2015. And it shows you here throughout the years the updates. All right, so it shows that it's pretty current, that it's staying current. All right, so then the next thing you want to know is what is the purpose of the site? Why was it created? Every site was created for a reason. Was it to inform you about something? Was it to sell you something? Was it to advocate ideas and get you to believe something? Is it to entertain you? The site that we looked at was obviously to inform us about Mars and water on Mars. So was it trying to sell me anything? No. Was it trying to get me to believe something? No. I mean, it was telling me about water on Mars, but it was giving facts and it was telling me just information that they have come up with. It's not trying to get me to believe one way or the other, that there's actually Martians or somebody living there and creatures and they have water and it's just like Earth and nothing like that. And it does entertain, but mostly it's there to inform. All right. The next thing to help you validate a website or a web page is to see if it is a personal web page or website. And the way you can do this is if it has a tilde in the domain name. So I will show you an example. This has a tilde, so it's got like the domain and it's got the tilde and then it has like a name after it. So that says this is a personal website. It was created by someone. It could say anything it wants to say. So it's not backed by CNN or it's not backed by some news company or somebody that is a valid source. It's just a person who created a page. Same with the word users. As you can see in this URL, see it has this and it says users/MPD. So that is also a personal site that anybody could have written anything and created. And of course, you also have your free website builders. You've got your .weebly.com, and this one goes to the one I created for this class, and it does say .weebly.com. So I can go in and I could create, and I can basically say whatever I wanted to say, true or not true. All right. So let's start validating some websites, and I put some fun ones on here. This is the Federal Vampire and Zombie Agency. Everybody's really into zombies these days, so will kids look this up? Sure. So it gives information from 1869, 1975, you know, that they were responsible for controlling the nation's vampire and zombie population, and gives you information, and there's links to vampire zombies. But if you go clear down to the bottom, I could do all of those other things that I showed you previously, but if you click on disclaimer, it says right here, the site is fictional and is for entertainment purposes only. So we know it's not factual. Right off. We don't even have to do all those other things. Here's another one called Dog Island. And Dog Island this looks completely legit. It even has a Baker University ad right there. And it talks about over 2,500 dogs are enjoying a better life on Dog Island. They're separated from urban life. So it even has photos, and you can send your dog. So another thing, you can go down here to the bottom and you can click on disclaimer, and it says this site was made in jest for fun, for love of dogs, and for love of life. You are to take no actions, make no decisions based on the content of this website. So is it legit? Probably not. Although it looked legit. Alright, here's another one, Martin Luther King. If you Google Martin Luther King, one of the first results is going to come up, martinlutherking.org. Alright, so this is the martinlutherking.org website, which you would think it's the Martin Luther King organization. Alright, so the one thing with this, it's historical writings, truth about King, the death of the dream. This says it's hosted by Stormfront. What is Stormfront? So I can click on that. I click on it, it says Stormfront is White Pride Worldwide. Well, how interesting is that? This is owned, the martinlutherking.org is owned by White Pride Worldwide. Or it also owns White Pride Worldwide, and it's called Stormfront. So you can go back in and you can do the link, you can see who associates itself with them, you can research the author. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I go in and I go to Google and I say link, and I say www.martinlutherking.org, 24 results. You've got slaves and masters, evaluation of sources, principle, and searching. Oh, this is talking about this type of website. A lot of these are. But let's go in and this isn't really telling me a whole bunch. Let's go in to Whois, and let's use this Whois and look it up. And it was martinlutherking.org. It's a different Whois. And Don Black at Stormfront. So there's an email right there. Here's information down here. He's located in West Palm Beach, Florida. So what I can also do is I can go to my meta search engine, Sputter, and I can look up Don Black. Don Black. Of course, you don't want to really use Wikipedia. It's a good start off if you want to get information. It could get you started. It could create some good links, but anybody and everybody can also just put whatever there, so it's not really a valid source. So anyways, you can go up here. Here's one, started as a stand-up comedian, Don Black, publisher of Stormfront, White Nationalist Resource Page, and former KKK leader. So there you go. There's who you're dealing with, and he's doing the Martin Luther King site. All right. Another rule to follow is that you need to check with 3 other sources, the rule of 3, in order to validate the information that you have on that website, just to make sure. Here are my resources that I used, and here is my Creative Commons licensing.